Bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum. All right. Zero failures of technology or boomerism. Ooh, there's 3 people. Wow. Oh, and we got a like. All right, this is amazing. Most popular influencer on the platform. Well, let's see if it crashes. I'm having some alt tab issues, which, you know... Oh, yeah, hello. All 3 of you. Nobody left yet, or 3 left and some came back. I want to do some AMS rallying, just, you know, get a bit warm. Maybe tweak some things. And I've enabled the Steam overlay, which should give me access to the chat while driving. This is a new thing, which is probably existed probably for 10 years. Anyway, the last time I streamed years ago, probably I never could read the chat, so that was a bit dumb. But there is this amazing Gabe programmed it himself overlay where I think the chat's appearing. So let me know how bad this goes, and sometimes when I alt-tab back into the game, then the overlay is gone or the game crashes. So that's part of the 0 technical difficulties that we will face. Let's go back to the game and see if... Oh, so far... Well, I'm driving, I see chat. I don't know if it's updating. But that doesn't mean I can actually read the chat while keeping... Well, we are on the widest roads in all Europe. In all of you. Well, can you write something in chat just in case? I don't know if this Steam overlay is still being updated or not. Who knows? Oh, it's updating. It's updating. All right. I think we have sort of, you know, technical liftoff, which is nice. Oh yeah. So this is all new for me. Being able to read the chat while driving a rally car. Some of the narrowest stages ever made for sim racing. Group B rear-wheel drive car. I will definitely read everything while keeping this thing under control. So it's my summer holiday has started. And we actually have some summer weather now. It's like 27 degrees here. So I figured let's embrace the sweat and just do some driving and let's stream it. Don't know how it will go. Of course, I've made some vocal criticism videos lately. Maybe you've got some questions. Maybe you want to distract me with chat messages so I can be upside down in the tree. So that's all possible today. I've made some changes to this car. So I released this car. It's on overtake. See my previous video. Just as a little bit of an experiment with throttle models. Gee, again! Throttle models. But maybe we'll make some changes to the physics. I'll do some spreadsheeting. It will involve alt-tabbing and boring you to death, while I'm sure the overlay will crash. You may also notice, yes, this is a Richard Burns Rally conversion. And Richard Burns Rally was far ahead of its time. But this conversion is really bland. It just does the 3D model, but the shadows and the textures, everything, the lighting, it's all, even for AMS1, which is basic, but it can look pleasantly basic. This stage doesn't quite look pleasant, but it's just so amazing and narrow that it's pretty cool to do. But I've already underestimated the task of driving and reading chat, so this will be very bad. Oh, Karel Nightmare, I did a Wreckfest 2 video just last week and I was quite impressed. It's a little simcady, of course, it's quite forgiving, which is exactly what they meant to do. But it's really intuitive and fun to play. Forcebacks felt alright. It even performed fairly well on my old system. So, not too bad. Ay, ay, ay. This stage, man, this is... When Richard Burns Rally released, this was the stage I hot lapped in my Citroen, back when Citroen was still doing the proper rally cars back then in 2004 or something. And I was, I think, with a 355 or something, somewhere near the leaderboard top at that time. This is just, I haven't really tried the Monte Carlo stages in AC Rally yet, but the speed at which the next corner arrives in your face is really fast. And here the rhythm section, I still think this is just a really cool stage, and even though it's a bit quite dated, and it looks very dated, the flow of the road and the it has, I think, a little bit of crown in it. You can sort of hook your tires into the sides there a little bit. It's just really well made, despite it being very old. Alright, so that works. So I'm gonna use the clutch on the downshifts, and when we want to use the handbrake. And I'm curious just to do a bit of, a couple of tests here. I've changed the physics a bit, I will go into that when we cross the finish, and I'll catch up with my popularity here. And we may do some more changes to the tires, for example. Alright. Well, 550. I think we can do better than that. So Snowman, the reason for using AMS1 is I was the AMS1 physics guy, so to speak. So this is my sim. When I was with Ryza, so I have the source code for it, which doesn't really matter that much, but that meant I could use the source code to improve my spreadsheets. We might see some of those later, although it will be on the webcam. So I know this game inside out, know exactly what the tire model does, aero, suspension. So when I enter numbers in this sim, I know exactly what comes out, and with AC, for example, I just don't know what the numbers do, and it would take probably a couple years to figure it all out. So AMS1 is sort of my game, and it is still, I think, physics-wise, it can be the best up there. I mean, the best as in up there with the best. Race teams can use it, drivers use it. Of course, it lacks in many areas, especially game areas. But as far as physics go, if you know what numbers to enter, it can be up there with the best Assetto Corsa, or maybe R-Factor 2 can do a decent job as well. So let me briefly go over some of the little changes I made since releasing this on Overtake. Of course, this car is supercharged. Just like my graphics card is a 2070 Super, so they match. Oh, not enough handbrake. And the supercharger is like spinning metal thingies, shafts almost, intertwined shafts that compress the air, but they're not without weight, and they are driven from the engine with a belt at a ratio, I don't know, about 2:1 maybe not quite. And the rotational inertia of this this is this is nerdy. But then again, what do you expect? When you add gearing to for the rotational inertia, if the inertia is 1 and you gear the supercharger 2 to 1, so it spins twice as fast as the engine, then the effective inertia you feel, just the one you have to add to the engine inertia, isn't 1, but it is 4, because it's a function of the ratio squared, so the gear ratio 2 to 1 squared, which is 4. Still with me? Anyway, I think the supercharger adds a little bit of actually noticeable engine inertia, because every time you want to spin up the engine, you have to spin up the supercharger twice as fast, and they have some inertia to them, some weight to them. So the response, it picks up immediately, but the rate at which the revs go up is reduced. So I've added some inertia to the engine, which actually, this is something you wouldn't expect, because you can imagine the inertia of the tires, big chunky tires, like 25 kilos. That's a lot of rotational inertia. So if you get wheel spin, you might think the inertia of the tires is very important, which, well, it is. But that gear ratio, say in first gear, it could be 10 to 1 or even more actually. And then the inertia of the engine, because it is spinning 10 times faster than the rear tires, is actually 100 times as effective. So engine inertia in lower gears is actually quite noticeable with how fast you get wheel spin. You can already see one problem with this concept. I'm not reading chat, and when I want to say something that's not just grunts or primal fear, then my speed isn't there. But anyway, I love the stage. So the engine inertia is a little bit higher. Change the shift times. I just had some fixed minimum times in there, but I use the H shifter now. Clutch on the way down. I did a little change to the brakes. A tiny little change to the dampers and the setup. And I might do some experimentation with tires, but we'll see how it goes. I want to get good first. Handbrake. Oh, not enough handbrake. Feels a little different. The changes I made, so you have to get used to the handbrake a little bit. Well, we're over a minute faster than before, so that's pretty good. I saw Aero GP. I did see your chat message or your comment somewhere. I have no idea why that feedback would be really basic. You can try maybe joining the AMS unofficial Discord. Maybe we can have a chat there later. And yeah, Shaggy, the AI in this game, you know, this game shows its age, although sadly AI in new games is pretty bad. In fact, worse in some ways. So AI is one of those weak links. And yeah, AI is better than AC, that's true, but AC is also not quite there. So I never have nice races against the AI in no games, because I don't, you need to be role-playing and just sort of pretend the AI is good, which I can do in like Grand Prix 2, because it's so old you sort of forgive it. But in proper sims like this, I don't really tolerate the AI. And somebody's getting fired at work, excellent. So Racing Fit, I don't really play Richard Burns Rally enough to judge. I think this is going out on a limb. AMS is a more complete physics engine than Richard Burns Rally, which doesn't mean much because Richard Burns Rally, being simple and effective, does the job very well. But I think this has a bit better, like suspension geometry, all that real-time stuff that happens there, tire physics. I think probably it should be on tarmac. I think AMS could have the edge, but I did enjoy it a lot. I tried it a couple of years ago, making in the Opel Manta in AMS and trying it in Richard Burns Rally. It felt good in Richard Burns Rally as well. Hey, White Nova, well, the weather is... yeah, that weather. Oh well. So my setup, because it's really simple, just 80-20 rig. It's not that special indeed, but yeah, the force feedback in AMS1 is really nice, I feel, and some people agree and some people might not. So yeah, Aero GP, something must be weird, must be going on. I don't really know why. Maybe we can figure it out later if you go to the AMS unofficial Discord. And really, Ryan, I don't know about AI, you know. I don't think people are overestimating what it will do and what it won't do, so I doubt it really. And I've never driven the iRacing AI, no, not. Actually, they say it's pretty good, but I don't really enjoy driving iRacing. So that stops it kinda. I did try the Porsche Cup a couple weeks ago, and as long as you stay under the limit, it feels alright. But then, you know, you go over the limit, and I like to push the cars a little bit, and then the tires just turn to jelly in iRacing, and it's been the same since 2008. Actually, kind of the same since Grand Prix Legends, and it's just not a game I enjoy doing. You have to also just sort of stick to the pre-programmed, stay below this limit, and of course, it's really talented esports people are so good at it, but I like to throw the car around a little bit and go over the limit and deal with it as it happens, and that's just not how you can drive iRacing. Alright, let's do another stage. I think I can do like a stage and then keep up with chat. If we do it mid-stage, I will become an Australian and be upside down. So watching some videos of this 037 being driven in more modern times. Sometimes they just do a little donut for fun. It is quite a controllable car in the right hands, and I don't know if I should have the hands to do it, but oh, yeah, that's too much handbrake. That's pretty good. What I want is functional handbrake usage, not the most sideways. Catch it with the throttle without the revs going completely crazy. But maybe we'll do some tire changes. Here, if you can hook it there on the inside, but then you have to be careful because it becomes a rock wall halfway through. Oh, you gotta be careful. Already these little changes mean I have to get used to it a little bit more. The handbrake feels a little different. The gearing is a little different. I found some allegedly real gears. But I can find that throttle level required to not have like a big drift out of the turns, but just enough, I think that's what you see, enough of a slide with the handbrake to get the understeer removed, but not so much that you need two arms of opposite lock. I should not have changed the gearing, I was used to that, and now it's different. Oh, I was close, I was really close. Cut the track a little here. Never forget about this one, which is oh, that's not where I need to be. Can I be allowed back on, or is this? Oh, I don't. Yeah, no. I think that counts. All right, that was great. Whew. Let's catch up after that. I think this car does have a handbrake in real life. Some of the four-wheel drive Group B cars I'm not so sure about. And this is Bisana, which is insane. So, with this completely straight car, which we definitely didn't crash, let's continue. Oh, that is the scary section. The gearing is a little taller than I had it. But the benefit of the supercharger is of course that we get good response, unlike a turbocharger where it might not work. This one works pretty well from like 4,000 to 8,000. First gear. Yeah, that's kind of the hairpin that I'm looking for. That's a bit too much. Does this work? Can you guys? Yes. So look at the slide here. So of course you can go showboaty and all that, but it's kind of nice if you get the hairpins done with the handbrake, just to get rid of the understeer and get sort of a neutral handbrake corner instead of the YOLO, Dorifto, Instagram. So that's very nice. And that was maybe a bit overdone. Still not too bad, but it looks pretty smooth. And Gabriele throttle model it's there isn't really, like, it's part of the physics engine. And is it the physics engine, the engine, the throttle model? It's just the term I used when I first voiced my concern some years ago. So now it's forever known as the throttle model. Of course, it is just how the throttle pedal affects the engine torque output. But yeah, that's pretty good. And we're half a minute slower again, but that definitely had nothing to do with being upside down and reading chat. And so yes, a lot of games use basically R factor as a base. So you have AMS2 is still using underneath quite a bit probably, but I don't know exactly, quite a bit of code that's also the basis for here. But Project Cars and AMS use a different tire model. Race Room still uses quite a bit of this. I don't know exactly what, but still quite a bit. And about porting all the tracks to AMS1, yeah, good question. This one exists, the rest doesn't. I think 3D Sim Add converts tracks maybe, but I guess there's a lot of work to be done. Maybe, AI tools could be made to do a better job, but rallying is a bit useless in AMS for the sense that I don't know if there's a base node plugin. It doesn't do combined stages where you have like different surfaces and all that. It should switch tire models and stuff. It doesn't, so it's not great. Let's go fast and not crash, because actually exactly the same as last time. Fast and not crash. Hook the inside here. And when you brake, combined with turning, it's a bit understeery there maybe. I like it so much how you can sort of brake into these turns with confidence. Get a bit more bite if you brake and enter like that, but you don't really have to fear. It's a bit messy. Hook it in. Yeah, at the end it was too big a slide. I'm more messy than the footballer. This is the eternal understeery corner where a wall appears. Definitely never been into that. So with confidence I can brake and enter there. That's really nice. Yeah, I caught it well with part throttle. Oh, that's good. That's nice. Just brake a little, chuck it in. Oh, this crash is scary. And now we go downhill. But even downhill, the braking in this car, if you start to lock a tire, it doesn't instantly lock, and you probably can still save. You know, you always get the central skid mark somewhere around the seat area, but it's doable. Oh, is this doable? Oh. And this stage is the sweatiest stage in rallying, I think. Fourth gear. See how sideways I got there, but it snapped back. I still had control there, locking a bit, sliding a bit. And I am reading chat currently. No, he isn't. Oh, out of rhythm, can still save it. My memories from downhill, the braking distances are longer and the throttle required for those hairpin turns is a lot less. And that's too much. Looks cool, but you're too sideways. So being on the brakes a little into these turns helps a lot. This is just eternal struggle corners, and maybe we can try it with the handbrake, but it's also narrow, and then the rear end swings out and hits the guardrails. Oh, I locked a little, but I still made it. We are faster, 4:22. This is actually getting towards a time that's not bad. Hi. So, let's see. You're chatting, it's all pretty good. I'm amazed actually it all still works, right? That's pretty bad. So yeah, graphical physics I think can be reasonable in AMS1. A couple of years ago I released not quite Audi Group B car. It's also an overtake with a stage, very wide uphill, what is it, Transfagassa Run hill climb. Definitely not a complicated thing to pronounce. But the problem with AMS is that I can make tires that maybe feel alright on gravel, but if you have a mixed stage with tarmac and gravel, all we can change is the grip level, and I want to change the slip curves and stuff like that. So on a mixed surface rally, this is not really possible. And so for tarmac it's fine, for gravel it can be alright, but you want to have the mixed stages and stuff like that, so that's not possible. I do know that a lot of questions are asked. Of course, I vocally say, you know, I like AC Rally a lot, but this throttle behavior is not what I would expect. I don't know, guys. I mean, hey, they are making their game, and I'm not making their game. So if they are on board with what they're doing, they will just keep doing it. If they are looking for ways to improve it, my message is out there. So, yeah. Let's do more. Oh, and stall. I do a flying start here. You have to stop there, but we don't do that. Still get used to the gearing. That is so nice how it dances, in my opinion. Braking there into the turn, and the front just is a little happier with a bit more weight on it, a bit of brakes, and it just tucks in without two arms of opposite lock. Oh, not enough handbrake. Oh, I'm struggling a little bit. With the smooth handbrake situation. Heel and towing, as you do. Ooh, that's too much. And then my tires were still lit up. And rear tires that are being lit up don't like to be told where to go. They sort of do their own thing. You've got to let me know, by the way, how often you want the sweat update, because it is starting to become alarming. On the brakes with confidence. That's good, I like that. Over the crest. I don't think this is where the rally car belongs. La 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 la. That definitely went without any problem whatsoever. I am smart, thank you, Gabriel. I am very smart. Live for Speed, pretty good game. To me, it... oh, drifting. Live for Speed, AMS, AC, I don't really know. I prepared for my real drifting in AMS1, obviously, because this is my sim. It works well in AC and also in Live for Speed. Live for Speed, I think it works until a point that the rear tires get really sort of mushy and overheated. But initially felt pretty good. AC is also pretty good, easier, I think. the difference I felt drifting in real life versus the sim is how the throttle actually is not just because I'm the throttle model guy. It actually made a big difference. And sometimes in the sim, you had a tendency to like stab the throttle and all that sort of stuff. But the BMW I drove, it really wanted smooth throttle control. And more throttle, more wheel spin, more sideways, less throttle, less wheel spin, less sideways. And then the steering almost becomes irrelevant, but because you can steer it with slight addition and reduction of throttle. And in that respect, AC doesn't maybe have the same throttle details, but lots of people drift with AC and it seems to apply quite well as well. As long, it always depends in real life how well you adapt to in the moment differences, because the force back will be different, the pedals will be different, the whole sensations are different, of course. So I think you could use liver speed, AMS or AC for drifting, and it would definitely help. You will feel probably reasonably well at home instantly, but of course you need to be able to adapt in a moment. I think AMS isn't known for any drifting, and I don't even think there are drift mods. There are drift cars in AMS1, but I think the throttle mapping is there as a bit too sensitive. But any sim basically helps with drifting, and I don't want to boast, but I did quite well, relatively, drifting, because it was the same. I already did it. The clutch kick, the adding throttle to get more sideways, corrections, force feedback, it just, it had a nice lock kit on it, the BMW. It was really quite, yeah. Sort of like that. Yeah, I feel it a little bit, Matthew. A little bit. Well, TrevCav, I want realism, but the point is we cannot answer the question, what is realistically difficult? Is AC Evo maybe perfectly realistically difficult and do I just suck? Or, is Wreckfest 2 realistically difficult? I don't think so, but it's a very, very complicated thing to answer. And there's nothing I've done here to deliberately make it harder or anything, but yeah. But sims definitely help. Let me not crash, just like the last couple of runs actually. Yeah. AMS is a small community. It does exist, and there are some mods made, and even some plugins now made. Somebody's putting the rain back in, and all sorts of cool stuff, but it's really niche. I think AMS1 is played more also in like Argentina and Brazil, where they don't have the latest hardware available, although nobody in the world can afford a computer anymore, so that's the great equalizer. But the community is quite small. Let's now do a proper stage. I'm used to the gearing. Nope, I've never crashed. So now we've reached perfection. Oh. More revs. Okay, maybe I'm pushing too hard. Oh, that's not enough handbrake, and then you ain't understeer. I lack that rear end control at the moment a little bit. Ooh, this is the corner where understeer will be a problem. Here can just sort of, if you mash the throttle, if you do it just briefly then it won't do it, but if you keep the throttle there for like half a second, the back starts to come. But it was really surprising in a way. I hoped it. So I did like 45 minutes of drifting on a wet skid pad in a BMW E46. Oh, yeah. Oh, sorry about that. Ow. that literally within a couple minutes I sort of did it fairly well. I mean, this is not super difficult. On the scale of things that are difficult to drift is a locked diff E46 with a steering lock kit on a wet skid pad is not final boss drifting, but still it's a nice controlled environment that's not too dangerous. And I was surprised how it just worked the same. Also the throttle control and stuff like that, it was just, yeah, you have to get used to it. Ooh. But that's an area where you can also adapt really well in real life, of course, so it's hard to say if it's truly the sim that prepared you. Oh, God, don't cut! Cut again! But I do think having an intuitive understanding in the simulator how the throttle affects things and how the good force feedback helps you do most of the opposite lock during a drift and stuff like that. Just letting it flow through your hands and then picking it up again. Felt really similar. I love the confidence here. Maybe there's a bit too much grip now actually, because I think this can do the lap times of the Richard Burns Rally stage of some four-wheel drive ones. But hey. Yeah, the force feedback setup for drifting is also really important and quite tricky, because all the wheelbases and wheels are a bit different and the sims are a bit different. So in order to train for drifting, you have to really set the force feedback so that the force was just about fair enough, but also with enough damping so the wheel doesn't, sometimes when you let go of the wheel and it wants to counter steer, it can go a bit wobbly like that, then there's not enough damping, and if you have too much damping it's sort of, it's too slow. So you do need a bit of setup with the force feedback to make it align properly, especially if, you know, the more realistic it is. If that opposite lock, the automatic opposite lock, is too slow or too jerky, it will affect the feel quite, yeah. It's good to hear, Nicholas, that the AMS1 drift cars are pretty good. I think the throttle mapping could be a bit better, but it does behave, I hope, somewhat logical. I've never played Codemasters games. I played the original, what was there, the Dirt Rally, the original one, through a wet stage in Wales in my Stratos, and I somehow kept control, but I had no idea what I was doing. I don't think I would connect with those physics. They seem just a bit too gamey to me. And you have to sort of be like a role-playing, I'm really pretending to be doing this. And I'm still pretending to be doing this in like AC or Live for Speed or AMS1, but here it's a bit like I'm actually doing it rather than I'm completely in pretend mode. Let's go again and let's see after that what we can do. Definitely goes a little light there. Great. All messed up. You have to be on the brakes entering that turn, and then if you just, let's see, yeah, throttle, lift throttle, you can't get it out like that. But it's it's one of those turns, not sure to use the handbrake. If you try to upset the car with throttle jabs, it might just understeer a bit too much when you apply the throttle. According to AC Rally, this car has 310mm wide rear tires. These guys are brave. I just crashed there and they're still standing. And this car isn't mental. Now it is mental, but hear me out. It's like 1150 kilos with 2 people in it. Oh, I see green. It's red. Ay, ay, ay. And it's got 300 horsepower at the ground, maybe. So that's not a power. It's not. It's not a power to weight ratio. That's insane. So getting the power down with soft tarmac tires, maybe not full slicks, but pretty grippy soft compound. I expect this car to be able to get the power down really well. It's got, I think, like 58% of the weight on the rear. I don't know that, there's no data for it. Not quite enough. Aggressive, but not too aggressive. You see I struggle a bit straightening the steering. Can we flick it? Oh. It's scary there, it's too narrow to properly be like drifting through. And the 4C-back doesn't do everything for me. Oh. 3/10 slower. Hi. You have to be an engineer to drift in any sim. That's right, engineers are the best type of people. It always does take a bit of adjustment, and it could also mean that maybe a sim that is a bit on the forgiving side, because most people might not set their 4C-back perfectly, that you need a bit more forgiving sim, and maybe AC, once the car gets really sideways, I think it is a bit stable. It fits if your 4C-back isn't quite set up perfectly, and maybe in AMS it is a bit more difficult. If we take this car to the skid pad, we will see that too. But it rewards it more if you have the perfect setup. But indeed, that is just a difficult thing because force feedback isn't standardized. So it will feel different on all wheels, and it's always a bit of tweaking and stuff required. So René, we think this probably had a handbrake, but we're not sure. I am not too brave. I'm not brave enough, and I will show you that being less wait, no, maybe you're right, maybe you're right. What am I gonna do? Let's just make it a random change. Let's go with wobbly rear dampers. Just see if I notice a difference. Let's just do some random changes. Nothing with too many spreadsheets. I have some new tires prepared. If anything, I have some understeer, and I think with the softer rear dampers it might be a bit bouncy and will be even better at getting the power down at the cost of some control. Oh, too much. So I think what I'm doing is I'm, opposed to the video, I'm on the handbrake when still straight, and then I add a bit of turning. I think it's best to just combine the handbrake with the initial little tug of steering, so it will instantly go sideways. Let's try that more. Can we? No, we can't. Oh, don't fall off the mountain. That's the right hairpin I want. I must say, maybe there is a bit more understeer at times. I also like the stability. Oh. Okay, I'm still alive. Didn't expect that. Every time you do rallying, you think, why am I doing circuit racing? Imagine this car at a track like Spa, how boring would that be? Now, of course, it's not quite boring. We did not hit a tree. Okay, let's be brave. Let's flick it. Yes. Oh yes. And another time. Oh yes. You saw that, didn't you? That's really difficult. It's quite narrow. Let's see how that looked. The cameras here in the replay are perfect. All right, let's. So the shifter is the Husikveld H-pattern shifter, which we did not release about 9 years ago. But it still actually works well, but there were issues with it. It does feel pretty good. Also some issues with it, so yeah. I did use VR, Jukas. I've got a Pimax 8KX. It's currently more or less broken. It does like black frames in between. So I've not used it for a while. Why is your name Niels if there is only one Neil? What do you mean? I've made a video about motion. It's an old video now. I think it's called My Motion Against Motion. If you watch that, you have some views on the pros and cons of it. Right. Oh, and for upshifts, I think the gearbox like this, you do not need, if you lift, you can just shift, well, of course you have to time it properly. But yeah, you don't really need the clutch for upshifts, I think, in this. If it's, I assume it's not a synchro mesh gearbox. So here we are. At this moment, the person here thinks, you know what? People are watching. I don't know how many. It's probably better not to know. It's too many. Let's pull the handbrake, because these very heavy wooden sort of guardrail things have never managed to damage a fragile Italian Rally Group B car. So he decides to pull the handbrake. And I don't know if we will be able... Well, let's see how it goes. He pulls the handbrake and it flicks to the other side with... Okay, what he does here, with all his 800 IQ... Steering wheel pointed to the left. By lifting here, get some load transfer to the nose, and I hope to flick it around, because the tires are already pointing to the left, and I want to point to the left. So by lifting here, the rears will regain traction, fronts are pointing to the left, and I hope to swing it to the left. I don't know if I actually have a bit of brakes applied, cannot see it anymore, but... Yeah, that went all right. Could have been more on the inside, let's face it. But look at the rear wheels, it's pretty close to the edge. On skill alone. And this is where there is a little bit of a difference. So I play some AC1 a bit. And I always enjoy it because it's a challenge to go faster, and while maybe there are some things that I'm not too sure about, it's always a challenge. What I found in AC1, the cars are much more eager to go from grip to drift. And the way I like to set my cars up, but of course this is all somewhat subjective, is that you really have to overcome the grip to get into the slide stage. So on a skid pad in AC, if you add a little bit of throttle, it will sort of gradually go into opposite lock. But if I go a little bit of throttle in AMS, it will just understeer. I really have to provoke the car to go into that state that I want it to be in, but the car doesn't initially want to be in. Of course, you can change the setup and all that, but the stability of this rally car, I think, is the key to go fast on such tricky stages. You want a bit of stability, so if the car gets into oversteer at any touch of steering or throttle, you're too busy catching it, so you want the stability, but maybe not. So this took a lot of work to get that drift going, and oh, this is, I think we stop here. Imagine if he continued, what's there? I don't know, I guess the world is flat. What I did find out about AC, I think let's just add a click of damper, because that's what all the pros do. The dampers are everything. Now, dampers play a role, of course. I'm enjoying this. Let's just do another one. What I didn't expect, but AC has the steering. The front steering is not actually from the geometry. I believe it just applies an angle to the tires as a function of your steering angle. Whereas in AMS, in other sims, you would expect the steering, the tie rods and everything to cause the right Ackerman and stuff. And maybe it has Ackerman, but it's not from the geometry. And I believe this can cause some issues with drifting as well. So yeah, there are many approaches you can take, and chuck it. Oh. Locked the right tire there. Bit of understeer. Oh. Oh, that's too fast, I think. Oh, okay. So I don't think AC has like different physics once you're drifting. I wouldn't think so. Let's make a change. Do we have even shorter gears? Oh, we do. Oh no, we don't. That's the other way, Niels. Oh yeah, sorry about that. Let's see what happens if we make it a bit more oversteery. And I've got some tires prepared to test, but I think I'll go to the skid pad first. More oversteery, you say? Yes. Same chucking. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, well, still have to pull the handbrake in order for it to work. Softer front roll, anti-roll. Oh, wow, that's a big difference. Softer, geez. Let me speak, car. Softer front anti-roll bar, softer front springs, stiffer rear springs. Which should give a more oversteery bias. Yeah, it definitely does. Maybe I like it more, but I was quite aggressive on entry. Before, and now I have to be a bit more careful, because if I throw the car like this into the turns with the new setup changes, it might oversteer. It definitely makes a huge difference. And an oversteery rally car has definitely never caused anybody any injuries. Oh yeah, well, it does respond better. And oh, this is. Oh shit. Okay. I mean, how close was that? We might not have the camera. Jeez, that was. miles of space. Like, this isn't even close. I think there's a good 3 inches there, so I'm sorry about that. It was not on the limit at all. Whew. Let's catch up with the chat while I recover from that. So Serpent AMS2 is of course a madness engine, which is a development of basically R-Factor-ish stuff. And then of course Ryza went and did some stuff to it, but it's also definitely sort of the tire model that was part of madness. But tire models depend so much on the numbers, and they've been tweaking that of course for years, more than what Ian Bell ever did with the Project Cars games. So. Right, definitely on skill alone we survive. Oh, where am I here? Okay. So this more oversteery setup makes a big oh, this is the place. All right, I remember now. It's all a bit green. So what do you want in the 80s, where you couldn't watch YouTube videos of people doing the stage? I think you would lean on the side of caution with the car setup. But also not too much. I mean, an understeer setup is very deadly if you cannot make any turn. So we did the drifting here. Let's see with this setup if we can induce it just in second gear with the power. Oh yes. Oh, I think we can keep it in there. This more oversteery setup needs less provoking, less abuse before it enters the oversteer state, and that's not too bad. And it's more eager. To enter the turn, so this is actually a quicker setup. Which means we will do another one. So I'm doing a flying start, which is about 1.5 to 2 seconds of an advantage. I like it more. Oh, do I? Of course. The setup is only partially responsible. How you drive it is equally important. And I just have to chuck it in a bit less hard. But I think I'm in more control, but I'm also just getting used to these gears and stuff. Oh, is that too hard? Oh, I'm going too fast. Yeah, I knew that was gonna happen. Oh, that's not... Okay, we do have reverse. Yeah, this... Oh, ow. Yeah, no. This is how you rally. Oof. Definitely part of the plan. So we went from 5... what is that? About 10% plus on the rear springs, 10% down on the front springs. And the front anti-roll bar was a bit weak already, and I lowered that, but the handling difference is huge. This is much more keen to at least enter a four-wheel drift. But it's still, I can still brake into the turn, and the slide is still progressive. Oh, that's nice. But yeah, if you're too fast, you can be in some trouble. I took it a little easy there, no idea why. This is understeer turn there. Bit of brake. Oh, is that too late? Is that too late? Is that too late? Oh. Can we? And can we do it again? Scandy flick it. Again. Oh, no, no. Okay, I like the setup. No risks were taken. No risks were taken. Because we don't do that. See, so the nice thing is... Let me just catch my breath a little bit. I will, once we're done today, I don't know if we'll be done today, add this, like a new version to the download. So I feel this is really, really difficult. And it was fun to see Gamer Muscle drive the mod, which was good of him to give it a go. And he was very disappointed because in his view, it's more intuitive and drivable than some of the new sims. And I kind of tend to agree. Also very easy to complain about stuff from the side, of course. But to me, this is really, really difficult to do. But once we're done, this will be an update to this car. So you can try this out for yourself. And that's what I'm curious about. And I know not a lot of people do this. Because you enjoy looking at somebody playing a game, but actually installing it and playing it. And AMS1 has a tiny player base. So I don't get as much feedback as I would like. But is this too hard? Is this too easy? It helps if you can try it yourself and if you have a reference from Richard Burns or any of the other games. So what happens here? Okay, this one failed, but then here, this brain, you see the 800 IQ person there, yeah? his head only just fits in the cockpit, and it does increase the height of the center of gravity of the car a little bit. He now reckons we can chuck it. And you can see the moment the weight transfers. The replay physics are not amazing here, but you can see the weight transfer from this side to that side. I want that to be very sudden to overcome the grip, and I probably lift a bit to move some weight to the nose. There we go. And lift, and there with, you see, you hear it in the slow motion audio. I add throttle even before the weight is transferred. So the replay doesn't store the actual physics and stuff like that. It stores an approximation of the roll, pitch, and everything of the car. So suspension geometry with like camber, gain and stuff is missing from the replay, sadly. So the weight hasn't transferred. I add throttle now, and then the weight transfers, and I lift immediately again. And this camera is just amazing. You see the weight transfer quite well on these cars. So Vance Foster, on my previous video where I talk about physics and engine models, throttle models, there is also a link to Overtake where you can download this car, although we are currently tweaking it, so there might be an update, and also this rally track. All right, I like this setup, which means we'll just have another go. I don't know, something about driving sims is a little bit addictive. It's as if I really enjoy this sort of thing for like 40 years now. Ooh, ooh. Oh, that was beautiful. Getting good. Ooh, oh, getting good. Getting good, followed by thinking you're good. It's okay to get good. It's not okay to think you're good. Okay. Let's currently let's get good, but not think we're good. We are not good. And that's good wheel spin. And the car is more oversteery, so be a bit less insane, Niels. I entered way too hot earlier. I should have cut more. Oh, don't know what happened there. I think we ran into a slight skill issue. So part of my brain knows we changed the setup, but my right foot has not gotten the message yet. Which means we will just try to drift it here. Flick it. Oh, lock stops. Full throttle. A slight guardrail. Nobody saw that. We didn't hear it. I should just remove the crash sound effects. Now, I know you might think this driving style will surely end in disaster, but of course it won't. Throw it in over the crest. Ooh, so close to the guardrail, I think, there. Ah, I love this. Ooh, do I still love it? Oh, I'm... Oh, you're so busy. Ah, didn't get the hook up on the inside. Oh, stuck. The right tires not on the tarmac there. Can we chuck it? Oh, yes. Almost, and still understeer. Oh. Oh. Out of sequence. So my brain says don't cut. My arms say cut the corner. Oh, that's not enough. Still. That was too fast, and then too much throttle, and then you just have smeary tires on exit. Ooh, yeah, grass. We are entering the showboat stage. I think we will be here a while. Really like those setup changes, and currently what I am experiencing is a skill issue. Let's see, anything I missed? What are well, I do have a driver's license, Vance Foster, so that makes me legit. I've got a 82 horsepower Ford Fiesta from 2011. I really like vehicle dynamics, sim racing physics, and driving cars on the limit. Everyday driving, I just get to work, obey to the speed limits. I wouldn't even want a fast car. I don't really care about really. There are no nice driving roads here in the Netherlands where I live. It's all flat and boring. And maybe there is an interesting place or two, but there's also farms, and then there can be like a kid on a bicycle that you don't see. Basically, if you drive fast here, you're an idiot, and I don't want to be an idiot on the normal roads. So my normal car is just... I try to use the car as little as possible. I drive like 3,000 kilometers per year, maybe. I take the bicycle to work, it's 10 kilometers. That's what I prefer. So I do not really care about real cars. Tier videos, yes, that's what I should do. Ben, I don't know, it seems like everything that is modern graphics engine has more input lag than like AC1 or AMS1 or Live for Speed. They just have less direct input for some reason. So we have Assen very nearby, Hopnop, but then how do you do that? I did a racing course there, so I have my racing license, which was interesting to do. I learned more from the drifting, a little bit I did, but real racing is just, you know, it's very easy to spend all your money on real racing. I don't really like the idea of it, not just spending the money, but also if you do a reasonably affordable class, if you count the hours that you drive per year versus the hours you spend on everything, the ratio is just off, and I can't stand doing nothing. And you arrive at Friday morning or Thursday, you're back home Sunday late, and you've done 1.5 hours of driving, half of which was a Code 60, and that's your weekend and all your money. So no, I don't really want to do more real driving, unless like you're a zillionaire. Then you just have like a track in the back garden, maybe a go-kart track or something. And it was nice to drive Assen, and it felt all right. I lacked some confidence, a couple track days there, but it went all right and it drove normal. And but the drifting is more where it clicked, where my sim skills just instantly applied to real life skills. I will go faster, pushing harder, and then we'll make a tire change, right? Let's do that. Promise, we will make a physics change. Ooh. Okay, just trying what happens if you keep the throttle flat. I'm doing this on purpose because when you download this later, if you tell me now it's too easy, which it might well be. Didn't even release the clutch, I don't know. Mental issues. Oh. He does it again. That's the problem when my... Oh. Yeah, you can overdo it. When my setup is oversteery, instead of calming down and smoothing out my inputs so I don't invoke the oversteer that is now more part of the setup, what I do, I'm thinking, ooh, sideways, and I start throwing it way more. That's my one of my many defects. Oh, look at this camera, see how well the car is moving. This was like the smallest Scandinavian flick. Oh. So this is absolutely insane to even try this in real life, and that's a question I have. There are so many reasons why you can be nuts in a simulator. There are no penalties when I get it wrong. Imagine just damaging the rear suspension. Okay, 20,000 euros and maybe more, and your weekend is done. The risks you can take in a sim, the conditions are always the same here. The car is perfectly put together. Always reacts the same when I give a certain throttle input. So should a sim maybe be more sort of forgiving almost because of the lack of risks, and I've done this for more hours than Juha Kankkunen drove rally in his whole life, you know. So maybe it's a good question. I think it's a reasonably good question. That completely delusional mega sideways stuff, you would never even consider it. It's not productive. You would wear out the tires and stuff like that. Could it be done? And how difficult should it be? This is such a complicated question. Anyway, let's save this setup because I do like it. Save YOLO stream. Yeah, that's the one. Let's assign it. Favorite, and let's take this a little bit drifting. which is Mendik Vloedplaats Drift. I will, after this, make a tire change, because there's something about these tires that I'm not sure of, and I want to change to a different pair. We are going to, oh yeah, what's it called? Rally Monte Carlo, Pisana. No. Yeah, it is. Oh, nice. YOLO load. Let's favorite that. All right. AMS1 can look pretty nice. And it is really sensitive to the little setup changes. I'm surprised how big the difference is. You can already feel like it's very neutral now, and it wants to enter a little slide easily. Very easily, in fact. A bit more like how I remember AC, where the car just sort of naturally enters the slide, but yeah, just a little dab. I think this takes more throttle control than steering control. And I think that's where it's different from Lift for Speed and AC1. Tire heating is not modeled, so at this point I would expect there to be some issues. Can we... On the lock stops, oh, I still made it. So that would definitely at some point be a problem. But I'm plus 25, minus 25 throttle, and the steering almost needs no work. It's just for this car, Ila of the Mountain. It does allow modeling heat effects, maybe not as good as I want to. The idea is to have this like a little test car to compare throttle models. That's how it started. And you would be surprised that you don't necessarily need to model the tire heat as long as you go for precise driving, and then you can still have a pretty good heatless system. At least that's what we use for the professional drivers as well. So now with the default setup, a little bit different. Let's see, before we change the tires. Oh, yeah, it's the crash you see coming. And then you have plenty of time to guess the repair bill. So this is the default setup, and it's more understeery, quite a bit. So I think we will need a bit more provoking when we get to the plains. But I did feel the previous setup entered the drifts really easily. Too smoothly maybe, I don't know. See how this understeers when I pushed it a little bit, it will still... That's one of the many things why simulators are so interesting. Once you're there, you can do it. But since the non-drifting state is more... Oh, lock stops. The non-drifting state is more understeery. So by the time this one backs out of the slide, it's more difficult to get it back in. And with the more oversteery setup, it sort of flows more naturally. There is a point where this is my plane, actually. You didn't know that. The only non-monetized YouTube channel that has two planes. Free. How many has this guy got? So I can get into the slide with throttle, but I need longer. And then lift, and then it will come. Nice. Okay, let's make a setup change. We did. Let's make a physics change, which will require alt-tabbing, which is very risky. We'll see how that goes. 69 viewers. Nice. What am I doing? If only he knew, that would help. Save. Okay, I think we've got new tires. What have I changed with the tires? Are we still here? Oh, we might still be here. I have to switch mods and then it will reload the tire physics. It's the things you know. And let's go back rallying. So, let's see, catch up with chat. So, Gucci Pookie AMS1 is quite different from R-Factor 1. We did add quite a few things to the physics and optimize things. And the force feedback I feel is better. There was better fundamental tire parameter was sort of not right, and we fixed that. Engine throttle simulation, where I've made a lot of videos about, is better in AMS1. There's a VR plugin. There are a few more things, more physics, frequencies, better everything. So it's still based on it, but it is significantly enough better, I think, that it's a different game. Engine braking. So compared to AC Rally, the one that you can download has, once you sort of figure out the scaling, the same amount of engine braking. The amount of engine braking seems alright. The only difference is with the AC Rally that you cannot control the engine braking. You get it or you don't get it. So at the instant you hear the revs drop, they do that with maximum engine braking. It's not adjustable, which I'm not too sure about, but I don't think that's right. These tires are a little different. So what I've changed is the load sensitivity. And load sensitivity is that parameter that everybody understands perfectly, so I don't have to explain it. Is that, of course, if you put more load on the tire, it has more grip. But if you double the load on a tire, you do not get double the grip. You get a bit less than double the grip. And the question is, of course, okay, how big is that effect? And with the tires that are on this mod that you can download, the load sensitivity is quite severe. I think, I don't know. This is one of those big black magic boxes you don't really know. But relatively, if we load the tires up, they lose some optimals like grip. They don't gain grip at the same rate as load. These are different tires that have a bit less initial grip, but they deal with load a bit better. And I'm curious what that does. Have I got the... Yeah, I got the YOLO setup loaded. Let me just get a sip. So I think ultimately the grip is maybe a little lower. But if we load a tire up, maybe we lean on the tire entering the turns, then previously, if I will chuck it in, let's just explain as I go. So a good example is after this one on the left. Here I'm sort of chucking it in, and you can imagine we are sort of braking and turning right, which means the left front tire has quite a bit of load on it. If the tire is really load sensitive, it does not convert that extra load into as much grip as a tire that is less load sensitive. Maybe the way tires work, the softer the compound is, the more load sensitive it is, but it might still have more grip. So it's a sticky compound, but the more you load that sticky compound up, the less happy it becomes. So I would expect now with the tires with less load sensitivity that the car is a bit more sensitive. When I lean on the front tires and enter the turns, I would expect them to bite a bit more. And the rear tires, which are unloaded, also don't gain as much grip friction coefficient as they did before. So I would expect this to be more difficult. And already this setup that we changed was more, you could see me fighting the car a bit, get more oversteer. So I'm curious to see how much more oversteer this gives us. At the same time, I expect some more stability on the throttle. Because the same applies there. If we apply throttle and we transfer the weight to the rear tires, with the previous tires, that extra load on them would also make them a bit mushy. And now with less load sensitivity, I think it will accept the power a bit better. Oh, there's a hairpin. Ooh, too fast. Oof, yeah, I knew that was coming. It's pretty difficult to explain that feeling, but the tires are happier when loaded. Total grip of the car hasn't really changed, I don't think. But leaning on the tire, it stays more cooperative. It's almost as if your car is lighter. If the tires are less load sensitive, the car is more reactive and a bit lighter. But still controllable. So let's do a couple of runs with this tire and see what we think in the end. And I'm surprised that it's still pretty good on entry. It's one of the many questions you have when you make a tire. Okay, load sensitivity. Ooh, that was fast. Oh, that's nearly dead. What is the load sensitivity of a tire? How does it change with, let's say, softer compounds, harder compounds, wider tires, narrower tires? And it's very hard to tell. Of course, maybe if you don't know, AMS1 is currently used as one of the simulators for the Rodin racing team. They run Formula 2, 3, 4. Oh, I thought I was there. I wasn't. Never a problem to be lost on a rally stage. This has never caused anybody any problems. So they use Formula 2 cars and lots of downforce. When you have a lot of downforce, then you can sort of get an idea of the load sensitivity. If you would not do load sensitivity in your physics, and you have like a Formula 2 car with a lot of downforce, it will either be too slow in the low speed stuff if it's good in the high speed stuff, or it will be too fast in the high speed stuff if it is good in the low speed stuff. Because the tire loads, they go up quite a lot with the downforce. So if you have a lot of downforce on your car, you can kind of tune the load sensitivity from the aero, but a lot of cars have no downforce, and then there are subtle balance changes, so this car definitely feels different. But it's pretty difficult. There is a range of load sensitivity I feel that sort of, yeah, this might be alright. And even for a Formula 2 team, the problem is you might tune the load sensitivity on the aerodynamics, but the aero for the Formula 2 car is from a wind tunnel, a scale model wind tunnel at Dallara. Now Dallara is a professional engine, professional car maker, of course, and their wind tunnel is going to be decent, but there could be quite a difference between the wind tunnel model and real life as well. So maybe you end up with load sensitivity on the tires, but the aero was 25% too high or too low. I think that might even be the range. So even then, but load sensitivity is a big factor in how cars feel, and also a big unknown. Alright, let's go again. I think I liked it. In general, less load sensitivity gives you a more direct feel, and like the car is lighter and more responsive, so... That was definitely nicely cut. Oh, that's too late. That's no. Okay, well, maybe that should have been too late. Pushing it pretty hard. Oh, balancing that over the crest. Started to get away from me there, and here it will get away from me. At least we definitely know the roll cage was not made from cardboard. I do like it though. Which means go again. Ah, that's lame. It might be quicker not even to use the handbrake. I'm not sure. The good thing about not using the handbrake is you don't have wheel spin on the exit, and wheel spin sounds cool, but it does cost you some acceleration. Therefore minimizing the slip even when using the handbrake helps. Oh, that's too fast. Is it? Yes, it is. Oh, it is. Yes, it is. And that's where the throttle model is super important as well. I haven't mentioned throttle model for at least a minute, so it's about time. Because you can catch the drift after you apply the handbrake. You can control the wheel spin. You don't run as much risk of the wheel spin stopping. Because even if you let go with the throttle like to 40%, at low revs there is quite a lot of torque with this throttle system. So you can safely remove throttle and reduce the wheel spin and let the revs drop without fear of getting out of the slip entirely. And that's also an area where maybe some other sims, in order to sustain the drift, you need more throttle, which means you will do more revs and have more wheel spin, which ultimately is cool but loses you some time. And I'd like to be on the brakes into the turns there. Okay, has he learned? I think it was here, right? Yes. Is anybody in chat so old that they remember Cannon Fodder, a game for the Amiga and PC, like 95? It was a fun-ish, well, violent but fun game. You had to control soldiers, complete objectives, throw grenades and shoot enemies and stuff. And every time you would lose a member of your squad, there will be in the main menu a little cross added, like a deceased human being. That's what rally games need. Crosses everywhere you had an issue. I like the dependability of it more, so I was afraid that this reduced load sensitivity would make the car more eager on liftoff and entry. But what I'm actually getting is more stability and grip on corner exit, I think. So that's pretty good. Ooh, yeah, it can do that sometime. So this is Bisanne from yeah, okay. I expected some people here to remember Cannon Fodder. Great idea though, not right everywhere you came to your demise in your rally game, a little cross there. Alright. I want to still go a bit faster. was really close. I went in too fast, such a shame. Up until then, it was flawless. You see, that was like 40% throttle and I still kept the wheels from re-gripping. That's great. Will I do it? Showboat mode activated. So I don't know if it comes across like that, but I never know exactly. Oh, well, I know exactly what's gonna. Apart from there, let the major crash that would have been life-ending not change your opinion of my driving skill. I don't know if it comes across like that. I never know what the car is gonna do exactly. I'm always reacting to it. And the car also reacts to my corrections very quickly. It has a good range of control. So I can really be on top of the car and adjust it. Because sometimes you grab a bit of grass on the inside, you get a bit more moment. And then at that point you have to decide, oh, lift the throttle a little bit of opposite lock. I'm constantly doing that, and it's you can call it pointy, but it's also controllable, and that's what I find mega about sim racing. I'm not learning this stage like you could learn a speed run for Super Mario, where it's just like frame perfect inputs. Every time is different, and you always need to react, and it's never optimal. And the reason you can download this and try this yourself is to get your opinion on is this way too easy or not. It's very challenging, I find. And I guess that's my issue with AC Rally, whether it's a combination of force feedback, maybe tire physics, throttle, where I cannot attack the car. I have to drive in a way that I know beforehand is safe. And I can drive this car up to a degree in a way that I know is somewhat unsafe, on the limit, but I can still control it. Now, not always, and you have to be precise, but I find that so much more enjoyable. And this is with the good-ish throttle model, Ivan, yes. I've not tried the other one. So I want to do that again because, you know. Let's see. Yeah, Code de Bros and Ju Plan was also good. I think Ju Plan is available for R-Factor and therefore can be converted to AMS as well. And I think Born 1828, that catching with the throttle is something you have to learn with this mod. It is more doable than with other sims, because I think some of the sims, not all the sims, but it's a new skill where a little bit of throttle, 40% of a hairpin, can still sustain a little drift. So Jason, well, it should accept up to 6 USB devices. Yeah, Born, I think I have a database in my brain of what the car does, but I can be a little more like enthusiastic than my database of what the car does in conditions. You know, I can be more enthusiastic than that, throw it a bit harder into the turns, because I know I will feel something in the force feedback and I will see it and I can correct and instantly be on my way again. And with some of the other sims, I find that, okay, I have to set up the car nicely and safely. I do not have like 4 corrections in a turn because, oh, I just clipped the inside there and it sort of pulled the left wheel in a little bit and I have to do this to correct it. I feel more in the moment in control here. Yes, 12 USB devices, yeah, that's going to be a problem. Maybe AI can fix that. I want to go fast still, because this is very enjoyable. You wouldn't necessarily say so, Donnie, but on a whole, the sim racing developer landscape are fairly friendly people. And I've spoken to people from various studios over the years. They also, you know, they lay down their own path, and there are so many things they want to do in a sim. And there's not always time for it, or it will come later, or there's some disagreement in the team, how to do this, how to do that. But AC1 is definitely, I think it nailed the controllability of cars. I think, but this is subjective zone, that what I'm doing here is more difficult than it would be to an experienced AC player in AC. But I'm not sure. But that is fine, because it opened the door for almost realistic sim racing with AC1 to far more people. And if your force feedback isn't set up perfectly, it's still fine. AC adds some stability, I think, when you go super sideways, but that's helpful because it allows people with less perfect setups to still have a good experience. You in AMS, apart from maybe 1 or 2 wheels, but I don't know, maybe it's for Logitech and for Fanatec, the lock is something you have to set on your force feedback wheel. And then the most important thing here is in the steering lock in the car setup, which you have to match with the rotation. So in this case it's 36, it's actually a bit less than the number you see here, 36 degrees off-center steering on the front tire is with 450 off-center here. Although you get a bit less than a 36. But yeah, you have to set that per car. It's just not the most user-friendly sim like that. One More Time. Should make a song called One More Time. I know when I enter the turns with a bit of load on the front from lifting or braking that the fronts are eager. That's a misshift. But I never know to what degree I will get a bit too little or a bit too much understeer. I have a rough idea, but I'm adjusting the car a couple times. you definitely don't want to be sideways at the end of the corner. So this is what I would expect with this setup. Sorry, with these tires with less load sensitivity. Sorry, I'm sounding confused. That it's easier to enter that turn, get some oversteer. I want to do like... Ooh. So I entered way too hot. And I was catching sort of the car all the way through. But I had the... And we stalled it, excellent. But I have the option to do that, to enter the turn too hot. And then I'm in trouble and I'm sort of scared and sort of always correcting it a little bit all the way through the turn. But there's that margin, and that getting it a bit too hot into the turn, it costs you time. But if you've got some skill, you can still control it, and that's what's so fun. Your mistakes are that skid mark at that one place. Ooh, close to the barrier. Never crashed here. This wall on the left, I think... You know... Richard Burns Rally stages are so old, I think we should see the effects of erosion now. And the lines should be different, so it's definitely not a realistic simulator. At this point, tectonic plate movement... We can expect that to change the stages. Oh! I'm very messy. Now, I want to get to the limit of these new tires. So this change I made to the load sensitivity, a crucial parameter of tires, took me about 1 minute. Oh, that's too fast. That's absolutely too fast. I did on purpose. I wasn't scared. Had it in full control and... So the tire model is, I'd say, pretty complicated. But also, with my spreadsheet, I can make this change in a minute. And if I want to do an in-between version of these tires, it will just be... Oh, see? We can... I just want to demonstrate that we have demolishable car and track. Yeah, great. So it's really easy to make changes to the tires and then try. Because one of the things, if you change the load, load sensitivity, it's a little difficult to predict if your lap times will be identical. So you might need a tweak or two to overall grip to bring that back in expected line. Okay, I will do a few more. I need to go fast and I'm not sweating. Oh, I'm sweating. Yes, very sweating. All right. So when I do a timed stage, I just go flat out from here, even though the time starts there, which makes us 1.5, 2 seconds quicker than the Richard Burns Rally times. Quickest Richard Burns Rally time in a Group B car is 4:15. And in the quickest rear-wheel drive Group B car in Richard Burns Rally, which is not this one, I think it is the Manta, it's a 4:22. So if I do a 4:20, then we've equaled the Opel Manta time from Richard Burns Rally, but those are the hot lap stages, and I think they know the tracks even better and are more accurate than I am. see that throttle control. Oh, I wasn't sliding. Will he learn control over his limbs? Oh no, he won't. Too much handbrake. I had a bit of a panic throttle blip there, which is not a great thing to do, but I felt I was losing the slide. There it entered sort of nicely on the brakes, but it's always different when you try it. A little different, but because it is so controllable, it's not like there is one good way to do it. Many decent ways to do it. On the brakes, ooh, on the limit there, on the inside. Oh, I was a bit... I want to minimize the drifts a bit, but not so much that they stop, of course. Like that, you know, it was scary, but I could adjust the car enough to stop that. And there a little bit of a moment, and now I decided to completely take that turn neutrally until I hit the grass on the exit. You can cut a little bit here. Shall we try 5th gear here at some point? Oh, that's too fast, that's too fast. I found it quite interesting to watch some of the faster AC rally times, because they had this esports thing a few weeks ago. And you could really see that they were so smooth and slow with their inputs. Very little sort of in the moment correction like I'm doing here. Now, of course, they are a lot more skilled than I am. But it felt almost like Magic Carpet Simulator. Is this a little Larry? I think it's a little... Oh yes, it's a little Larry! Scratch that, it's just Larry. So now that I'm pushing it more, I do find a little bit of what I predicted. That this is a bit more oversteery when I throw it into the turns than the other load sensitivity was. So I'm inclined to make a little setup change. Oh, I love this so much. This is so much fun. It's very difficult though when you're like esports. You find the best way to drive and you do 1,000 hours on the same thing. But I was surprised how gentle those esports AC rally laps stages looked. Let's go a little harder on the front anti-roll bar. Already you feel a bit more understeer. But then again, if that also means less Harry, maybe we should just drive accordingly. I'm sort of not using the clutch properly. After I release the handbrake, I'm starting to get mentally a bit confused, which explains a lot. Oh, nicely caught. Oh, that's difficult. I think I had a few tires not in contact with the road there. See how I could fix the lock tire. You hear the tire lock. But it wasn't a problem. I could get them rolling again. I got a nice audio clue of what was happening. I understand. Oh, I knew it was happening. You have to hook it up on the inside there, otherwise it's gone. That is not a risk anybody would take in real life. Not even the Group B men and women. Oh. Definitely sturdy suspension. Oh, he saw me not know what to do. It's something I need to learn to do better. I can sort of panic and lose control over my steering wheel. I think just going slowly here. There may have been an incident earlier where we removed that barrier, which means we can now cut the track. Oh, they floated downhill. And braking deep into those turns, slowly letting go of the brakes as you enter. It's so nice to have that control. But again, this is a perfect brake pedal. Perfect brakes on the car always respond exactly the same way. Toe socks, yeah, I know, that's the missing thing. Okay. I don't know if you still care, but this is me. This is a good reason to be streaming. You see the true Niels. I don't know how long ago we started. I can do this for hours and hours because this is so engaging, so fun. Not because it's the best sim, it's my little playground of spreadsheets and mad scientist behavior. So how did that sound? This is where I drink my tea. This is like 450 milliliters. And when I have to go, you just go in the sim rig. No, you don't. I want to go fast because I want to know how close or far I am from the Richard Burns Rally hot laps, to see if maybe, because you know they've been doing rallying for such a long time, maybe it says something about the grip that we should have, which just means trying again. Messed that up. Oh, and then we are just leaving rubber. Starting to get maybe a bit tired. Imagine being my co-driver. Holy shit. Let me out. I would change all the notes. Hairpin left. Care. But it's flat out. No, it's a hairpin. Could just feed in the throttle nicely. Hello? Can we frog it in? Oh, four-wheel drifting there. It just went on all four tires. Just about made it this time. Almost a misshift. Got stuck between the gates. Oh, that's a... Too fast again, too fast again. Oh no, exactly what I wanted. Remember earlier in the stream where I had the balls to drift at? Well, oh. Okay, so that's a 419, but this is with the rolling start, so it's a 417.5, which is quicker than the rear-wheel drive cars, and this is 2.5 seconds off. 2.5 seconds off the four-wheel drive cars in Richard Burns Rally, which would be a bit more difficult in the corners, but they also would accelerate faster. So I think if Richard Burns Rally is reasonable for grip, maybe we are a bit high on it, which I can actually, can I? Oh yes. So this is a thing what I do with my tire spreadsheet. I make 5 compounds, 98 to 102% to tweak while testing cars. And you think what's 2%, but it actually makes a difference. Let's reduce it by 2% and try again. That's how you do a handbrake. Ooh, was it? Two percent is still quite a bit. So it's just slower everywhere. Ooh. Kept some brake on to enter there. Maximum cut, that's nice. When the tires lock, a lot of the time the first tire to go is the inside tire. So as long as you apply your brake pressure gently enough, then you always hear the lightly loaded tire lock first, and that's why you still have some control. Some. Oh, slow, slow. Could feel on the forcing back I was sort of trying to connect my inside wheel into the ditch, but it, ooh, I knew, ooh, this is part of the plan. Oh, oh, oh. Could have been better. That's for 18.5, so that's for 16.5. Sorry, for 20.5. Pretty good. Let's see if I missed anything. Some people are still sort of watching, not really paying attention, more chatting, which I think is the smart move. Am I obsessive with this? Nah. Oh. Oh, forgot where I was. Apparently, that was the guardrail. Can we? Oh yeah, I was gonna go fast. It happens all the time. Enter way too fast, and you saw that. Yeah, I would expect that to give me trouble. Wasn't sure I was gonna make that. Oh, this tightens, and I just thought I was there already. This car is a bit more difficult now to get drifting through here, but I don't think that's a big deal. You have to accept that it feels slow. I don't think it is. Oh, that's... yeah. Sometimes you can go off track a little bit with the inside tire, but it also upsets. Ooh, upsets. Okay, well, that was not quite the time, was it? So cutting the track and hugging those insides, yeah, it can give you more grip, but it can also upset the car a bit. So I'm running a Simulcube 2 here. Steven. Yaru, he's streaming. The sweat is also streaming currently, but let's not go there. So let's see. You could have a point. Maybe a bit less diff lock on the exit makes it a little less snappy. Who knows? It's always the setup changes that bring you the speed. Running 8 Newton meters only, it's not that much. I think it's better on power application with less diff lock. Nice and neutral entry, but then understeer. I entered so fast, I was expecting, if anything, more issues. You see I'm throwing the car in. Can't help it. Brakes started to lock, you could hear the revs drop. But I had enough warning and I could correct my inputs. I know we have another gear. But I'm too afraid to try that. Oh, we are out of rhythm again. With how out of rhythm I am, you can guess my skill at my drum kit. Yeah, that was just overspeed. Oh, it is more fun to do it this way. Oh. Too narrow. And Scandinavian flick it. Oh, oh, oh. I embrace the sweat, Master Porten. Embrace the sweat. I find when it's hot, if you do nothing you get hot, when you actually do something intensive and it's, yeah, I won't show you, but it's bad. You kind of just embrace it, you get hot, you get sweaty. That's the first time a lockup almost made me go straight. Oh, was I on the grass there? With the rear? Made it. I think we've reached the point where I can no longer drive sensibly. Now that's setting you up for a joke, as if I ever drove sensibly. Fifth gear, I tried fifth gear, fifth gear. Okay, well, I tried fifth gear. Let's not do that again. One last time, and then for fun we'll take it to like Spa, because that's a gentle cruise. Oh, I was taking this in second gear earlier. Chuck it in. Chuck it in. It's difficult. I've tried the Scandinavian flick there. There's too much grip on low speed on tarmac. to do Scandinavian flicks, which I think is fair.
Oh, yes. Oh, hey, oh, no. Well, you see, that's clean. That was clean. You kind of need a handbrake. Sustaining all the drifts at those speeds without the handbrake is impossible. I'm making a mess of it now. All right, let's. What we'll do. Clearly, I've been. Yeah. We went over that peak a long time ago. We're going downhill. Let's do a little bit of Spa with this setup. Because that is... Hello, mouse. Yeah, mouse is too hot. So let's load that setup from Bisana. YOLO, load, favorite, whatever. We will need taller gears, probably the tallest. Oh, a racetrack. Oh, the comfort. You can get food there, there's toilets, a grandstand for people to sit in. I haven't touched the steering wheel in seconds. So how does it drive here? It's gonna be so much more tame. And the wind noise will be a bit loud. Oh, how boring is track racing now? Oh, okay, we might still be able to crash. I didn't expect it to bite there. It sure did. Angry groupie. Here you clearly see we have about 300 horsepower at the wheels. 1150 kilos. This is not a fast car in this setting. A bit of understeer there. How slow is that? Feeling. I mean, we're not going too slow. I think we're doing 1.1, 1.2 G in the corners. Now I just put a number in for the drag. I don't know if that's real or not. I've never taken this car to a racetrack. Still turns nicely on the brakes.
But now you feel how underpowered it is. In second gear we are underpowered for sustaining the drifts. Lift, yes. Nice-ish. We can pick a little bit shorter final drive. Maybe then we can sustain something in second gear. Come on! Left and right. This is third gear. Ooh. Well, that is very different. So that's, I don't know, a stream which had surprisingly few technical difficulties, right? See the replay. Good idea. Oh yeah, I think Eau Rouge was nice as well. There we go. So we lacked the torque there to sustain the slide in second gear. Amazing cameras. It's an interesting difference once you go on a track like this compared to the rally stage. Here the car is nice though. See how I did a big lift here. Car enters a slide, otherwise it would understeer, so I provoked that slide and now I'm full throttle again. And it straightens out, it's pretty nice. But you take it on a rally stage, it's mad. Take it to Spa and it's fairly slow. Definitely not the driving that's slow. This is the optimal way. Scandinavian flick is really easy. Scandinavian flick in third gear. Whee! So this is a fun one. Full lock this way, and what I did there is let go of the steering wheel, and the Simucube is of course a good wheel and it's set up nicely and it did it all for me. However, this car may not have had power steering back then, and that meant maybe the suspension geometry had to account for that and make sure it was humanly possible to steer the car. And one of the things you can do to make it more humanly possible to steer the car is reduce the trail on the suspension. A caster angle is one way to do it. You can also change the upright position, but with less trail there is less effort to put on the steering. The downside is when the tires slip, the front tires have a bit of slip on them, the force feedback, the steering feedback goes really light. And if that's how they have this car set, it might very well be that unlike drift cars, which are meant to sort of automatically apply all the steering for you because of they have enough caster or enough trail, so it's almost automatic opposite lock, maybe this car in real life with a lot less suspension trail would, even in the sim, if we change that, shall we change that? That might be fun. Let's change that. Can we? Maybe we can. With a lot less trail, it might not autocorrect as much. So here, see how fast the steering goes from full left to full right. And I didn't do it manually. Force feedback did it for me, which is a natural thing for steering to do with the fitting suspension geometry. But unassisted cars often don't have a lot of suspension trail because it makes the steering heavy. But that goes a bit far to start playing with that now, and I think I need another liter of water to compensate for everything I've lost during this stream. Anyway, to I'm sure your surprise as well as my surprise, there were no real technical difficulties. There was some issues controlling my right foot, there were some issues controlling my right hand, my left foot, the brain. But those were all expected technical difficulties. The actual streaming, you know, kind of went. Able to read chat, not while driving. So this is kind of nice. I think this is maybe an improvement. So, alright, I've got this release now on Overtake. We made some changes. Is it better? I like it, but now you kind of have to go back to the original version, try again, decide, you know, what is better. We changed it. I like it. Is it better? That's how hard it is to be a sim developer. Well, a mod hobbyist at this point. What is better? When is better? Why is better? Is worse? Who knows? Anyway, my dear viewers, I'm gonna alt tab, which is risky. I hope you found that enjoyable. First stream in a very long time. Maybe I'll do more, maybe not. I wish you a very happy rest of the day, and I might catch you later. Thanks for joining in. Make sure to check out my videos if you're interested in this rally stuff. This car is released and there might be an update that I will post. I will make a post on YouTube. I won't make a video of that. Not that many people are into trying this, of course, but that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching and I'll see you later. Bye bye.